Nigeria's restructuring. Former head of state urges Nigerians to tread with caution.
Developing oil reserves. NNPC flags off marine oil search in Lagos.
Alleged shooting of teenager. Bayelsa State Police Command detains suspected policeman.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, our focus is on local government autonomy.
Now, a few months ago, the leadership of NULGE, now that's the National Union of Local Government Employees, was quoted as expressing the hope that state houses of assembly will follow in the stead of the 8th National Assembly by mustering necessary conviction to vote overwhelmingly for local government autonomy.
Very well, Claire. Now, the latest expression of hope is certainly derived from what played out in the past when the 6th and the 7th National Assembly voted for local government autonomy. But unfortunately, the State House of Assembly could not muster the required 2/3 votes to get it to sail through as an amendment to the Constitution.
And now, if you also recall, both chambers of the National Assembly had recently passed the constitutional amendment which granted autonomy to the local government. Of course, there were 3 bills that, speak to the autonomy of the local government that were amended.
Absolutely. Now, the news following, of course, the resolutions and the passage of the bill by the National Assembly was one that was greeted with a lot of joy by advocates of local government autonomy. And such advocates include NULGE, that Claire earlier referred to. There's also ALGON, the Nigerian Labour Congress, as well as a number of civil society organizations, plus other well-meaning Nigerians.
But of course, as you well know, the National Union of Teachers, that's the NUT, and some state executives raised the alarm over what they consider as dire consequences should that be allowed to happen. Now, matters arising from the clamor for local government autonomy is hinged, as we said earlier, on 3 critical areas of the bill.
Well, these areas which have been in contention between the states and the local governments include the provision of special accounts for the various local governments, the democratic existence of the local governments as a tier of government, plus the tenure of the local government's administration. Now, as we know, there's a prohibition in terms of having caretaker committees, as we have seen play out since 1999.
Indeed, Kingsley, although advocates of local government autonomy say a major hurdle has been crossed, of course, that's with the voting by both chambers of the National Assembly. But securing that vote requirement at the state houses of assembly might, however, present a bigger challenge. Now, this is because there seems to be more gray areas to address for an easy ride.
Now, what are those gray areas, and what should be the prerequisite, as it were, for granting full autonomy to local governments? Now, with the State House of Assembly muster the required conviction to vote this time overwhelmingly in support of local government autonomy?
Questions and questions. Today on Good Morning Nigeria, we'll focus on these matters arising and prospects for local government autonomy. I am Claire Delabo Abdulrazak. The pleasure is always ours having you join us. And it is also with great delight that I welcome back Kingsley Osadolo, of course, from a very long but well-deserved vacation. Kingsley.
I thought it was a short vacation, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Thank you very much. And indeed, of course, my appreciation to everyone, the members of the Good Morning Nigeria crew, the big potatoes upstairs, as well as our viewers around the country and elsewhere around the world, who kept calling and asking when I was going to be back. Thank God I'm back today, and it's my pleasure to be back, as it were, on the beat. Good morning, Nigeria. It's broadcast live every day of the week, Monday to Friday. And we are on Africa's largest television network. That's the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, in the course of the program, as always, we'll have our complimentary segments, and these include business news, newspaper review, foreign, sports, arts, and entertainment. Of course, we're beginning straight away with the morning news, as always. And our newscaster this morning is Joy Osiago. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Kingsley. Good to have you back. Good morning, and thanks for joining us on the morning news. Former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, has urged Nigerians to tread with caution the issue of restructuring the country and seek for God's guardians. General Yakubu Gowon stated this at the annual Night of Drama organized by Divine Oracle Ministry Assemblies of God Church, Minna.
Everybody is asking for restructuring, so we will have about 500 different ideas of restructuring, but I do not know whether it will be possible for any state today to wish, to say that they are going to be merged with another state again.
The Nigerian Navy says the Operation Octopus Sweep is meant to consolidate on its achievement of safeguarding the Nigerian territorial waters and tackling economic sabotage. The flag of Commanding Central Command, Rear Admiral Bello Al-Hassan, stated this while briefing newsmen on their operations.
This press conference is being organized to synthesize the general public on the need to be abreast with the forthcoming exercise called named Octopus Grip in the Central Naval Command area of responsibility. I therefore solicit for your usual cooperation, and as the command embarks on this exercise, 7 ships will be used for the sea exercise, while for the riverine operation, we intend to use 37 boats, 37 riverine patrol boats.
Bansia Epe community in Yenagoa local government of Bayelsa State has been in shock following the alleged killing of a youth by a policeman. The accused policeman, who resides in the same neighborhood with the victim, has been taken into custody by the Bayelsa State Police Command pending outcome of investigations.
As I hold in hand, instead they cry say, see, I not do this man anything though. See, I don't shoot my leg. Say, na die, I die. They say, this boy they bleed though. So in phone, I take look the bleeding when they come out. Now I can say, sir, this boy they die. Say, will you get out of here if I will shoot you? So me say with the shooting involved, and only me day, I get to leave and walk come out.
The policeman has been arrested. It's under investigation. The other suspects has equally made confessional statements as to how they came to his house, and that they belong to different cults, a particular cult group called Greenlanders. Both the suspect and the policeman are now in custody, and investigation has now progressed.
We will not rest. The people of AP will not rest until the man that carried out this dastardly act is brought to justice.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has reiterated its commitment towards growing the nation's crude oil reserves and increasing daily production. The Group Managing Director of the corporation, Dr. Meikanti Baruhu, flagged off the NNPC first E&P oil mining leases partnership in Lagos for the marine seismic data acquisition, said the project will boost the corporation's drive towards enhancing the nation's abundant hydrocarbon deposits. Dr. Baru added that the development will also reinforce the federal government's efforts to harnessing the nation's resources to enhance income streams and create more jobs.
That there are a lot of reserves that are below the current targeted areas of 8,000 feet. We are looking much deeper, and we believe that those deeper reserves will increase, maybe even double the reserves that we have in place.
The wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, says President Muhammadu Buhari needs all the support and prayers of Nigerians to enable him provide the leadership that will bring the desired change in the country. She stated this in Yola at the inauguration of the Northeast Coordinators of Buhari Friends Organization Network.
As long as we struggle to meet up with the objective of this organization, I think it's our sacrifice and it's our contribution to the socio-economic and in fact political development of Nigeria.
Muslims are from the mosque and Christians are here together, joining hands to pray to one God for peace to continue to reign. And then wisdom for our leaders, starting from Mr. President and governors and other elected members and then appointed in government to have focus, have vision and work in the direction that they bring a better Nigerian state so that the common masses will be beneficiaries.
In the meantime, the Buhari Media Support Group has expressed displeasure over the attack of the People's Democratic Party on President Buhari-led administration. A statement signed by the group chairman, Austin Brimo, said the PDP's reaction over the said reinstatement of Abdulrasheed Maina, former chairman of Pension Reform Task Team, is malicious. It stated that the looting of pension funds, which increased the woes of pensioners and led to the death of many, started during the past administration, which did nothing to address the scam. The statement explained that the Buhari government remains relentless in tackling the issue of corruption perpetrated by the immediate past administration and enjoined Nigerians to support President Buhari in rebuilding the nation's economy, security and infrastructure that will give Nigerians a new lease of life. That is the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Claire and Kingsley after the break.
Unemployment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem promptly through revival of agriculture.
The 30K is going a long way. Actually, I bought an acre of land for 60K like 2012, and presently I have a cassava farm and a yam farm.
It's okay, Mommy's here. Pampers Baby Dry, the driest diaper in Nigeria, has a unique extra sleep layer and locks wetness away better, so your baby can sleep soundly all night. Pampers, wishing you love, sleep and play.
Give me the value pack. Helen!
You do great value shopping.
Absolutely. I'm a champion at getting value.
Then you must have bought the Harpic 200 ml.
Why Harpic when I have this?
Even after applying them 10 times, they won't give a sparkling clean toilet.
Impossible.
Challenge. Detergent and bleach can't give a sparkling clean toilet even after 10 times. But Harpic 200 ml gives a sparkling clean toilet at one go.
Wow! Harpic 200 ml. Real deal. Now only 200 naira.
Straight A's mean better days. On those days I worry, my mind's so blurry. Studied every chapter, still can't find the answer. Always is the answer with its comfortable top layer and reliable protection with Super Gel. No stain, no check. I know what gets straight A's mean better days. Our future starts
250 naira, get the new Always Pocket Money Pack.
Savlon leaves you free to live more and do more. And it's formulated by Johnson & Johnson to kill over 99.9% of germs on skin.
John is so cranky with this rash.
I see many babies suffering from diaper rash, especially when using cloth or low-quality diaper instead of Pampers.
But money is so tight.
It's true, but it's such a waste to spend so much on products to clear diaper rash rather than Pampers with built-in lotion that helps prevent rash and keeps baby dry all night long. Even in tough times, our babies must come first.
Nigerian Pampers, #1 choice of pediatricians.
Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
These patriots worked together to achieve independence for one united Nigeria. Although some may say Nigeria is a mistake, we all know that the Almighty never makes mistakes.
God has not made a mistake by bringing us all together in the way that He has brought us together. God has put us together here so that we can build a community that will be an example to the entire world.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
All right, business news is next, and in it, financial markets will resume this morning after a mixed week. Leah Katumba Batunde will bring us that update as well as other stories.
For the Central Bank of Nigeria will this week auction 100.84 billion worth of treasury bills. The bills would come in 91-day paper, 182-day paper, and 364 days tenure. The Fitch Ratings Agency says very high Nigerian treasury bills yields are helping banks to maintain their margins. Banks have been investing heavily in T-bills since the second half of 2016, boosting interest income and maintaining margins. Margins reported by Fitch rated Nigerian banks averaged 7.5% in the first half of 2017, in line with first half of 2016. But the boost to net interest income may be temporary, as T-bills yields have reduced in recent weeks, falling to about 15.5% from their mid-year levels of just over 18.5%, and they may decline further. Now, moving on, stocks on the Nigerian stock market run the course of the previous week on a mixed note, even as Owando and the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) traded words. The twin gauges closed the week mixed to see the all-share index lost by 0.34% and the market capitalization appreciated by 0.2%. Now to current matters, Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun has restated that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is laying the foundation for the kind of economic growth that makes a real impact in the lives of citizens. The minister, in an article titled "Repositioning Nigeria for a Prosperous Future," said the economic downturn has inspired unprecedented levels of fiscal responsibility in line with President Buhari's determination to fight Nigeria's endemic corruption. While the downturn was not peculiar to Nigeria, as other oil economies suffered the same fate of revenues decline, she penned that the financial mismanagement that ensued during the era of the oil boom formed the pathway to where the nation found itself, and the government would not rest on its oars until the economy is fully reflated. With budgetary and treasury reforms, fiscal prudence, a lot of the work the minister states have been done over the last 2.5 years, focused on dismantling the old ways of doing things, rebuilding them, and empowering and fortifying institutions with technology to block loopholes, discourage abuse, and prevent a relapse into the destructive ways of the past. Now, in a similar development, the low level of growth in the country needs intensified efforts to save the economy and improve the quality of life of Nigerians. These experts say has become imperative coming from the attendant effects of running a monoproduct economy. Speaking in Abuja, Treasury management professionals say the task of nation building needs a holistic approach to attain a complete departure from the recession era.
The economy had recorded 0.55%, but that is not to say that the country or the economy is out of recession yet. So it needs to be sustained.
Because whatever you produce locally will sell. The market is huge. So these are our concerns about.
They also advise policymakers to ensure a speedy passage of budget and its effective implementation, as well as work towards reducing interest rates to single digit to provide more access to credit for businesses to thrive. And that is Business News for this hour. Thank you for watching. My name is Leah Kating. Baba Tunde.
All right, thank you very much, dear Leah Katung Babatunde, for the business package. Next for us, we go to the front pages of today's newspapers to check out the headlines.
And let's welcome regular newspaper reviewer Bayo Atoyebi, who is here with us. Bayo, good to have you. Hope you had a good weekend.
Yes, Claire. Good morning. I had a restful weekend. Guess who is here? Welcome, Kingsley. It's good to rest. I think I will be meeting very soon. Good morning, Nigeria.
Thank you.
You're looking good.
Thank you
well
very
rested.
much. Thank you, Bayo. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of stories, of course. While I was on leave, we won't have the opportunity of touching on some of those stories. A few of them, of course, have provoked quite some jokes and thoughts, as Claire has indicated. So, Bayo, let's take a look at the front pages. Claire, we'll begin with you. Yes,
we begin with Vanguard, and Vanguard newspaper, of course, has quite a number of stories on the front page. And the lead story: take action on Southeast roads. Governors, Igbo leaders tell Buhari, and that's you have it. We also say that's the writer to that story. State of roads in Southeast, Akanu Ibiam airstrip deplorable. Agrees on a regional economic summit with support from the UK. Those are the stories trending on the front page of the Vanguard. You also have the report on power firms who have lost 500 million naira to vandals, and that's attributed to discos. You can find the story on page 13. We also have another story. Nigeria appears more divided than ever before. That's Atiku Abubakar. The details of that story you can find on page 5. There's also other stories, of course, on repositioning Nigeria for prosperous future. You can find it there as well. That's we have other stories on the excess crude revenue that has risen to 11.1 billion naira daily, and other quite interesting stories. Kingsley, you want to take up?
That's right. Let's take a look at this day newspaper. This day from top to bottom, that's beginning. That's the second lead story above the nameplate of this day. IMF advises Nigeria to recapitalize banks. And it has a rider, external reserves now $34 billion US as CBN predicts organic convergence of exchange rates. Now, next to that is a story. Adeosun is Minister of Finance. Vested interests opposing federal government's economic reforms. That story is in greater detail on page 10. Now, below the nameplate of this day newspaper, you have the story OGFZA, that's the Oil and Gas Free Zone Authority, and Intel's bicker over audit and allegations of unlawful operations. That story is in greater detail on page 53. Now, the lead story has a double-decker headline, as you can see on the screen. APC leaders in make or mar meeting today over direction of government. And, of course, the story is indicating that ahead of tomorrow's National Executive Committee meeting of the APC, the party's National Caucus will hold crucial talks later today with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Aso Villa. And the last story on the front page says Southern leaders push for national consensus on restructuring. With Rider Atiku, that's former Vice President, Nigeria more divided than ever. Of course, there's a photograph there from a concert that took place in Lagos over the weekend. Bayo.
Well, let's start with the story about the meeting in Enugu. You have the governors of the 5 southeast states with the deputy senate president, as well as the leaders of Ohanese Indigo, meeting in Enugu. They rose and passed some resolutions, among which are the call on the Independent National Electoral Commission not to shift the date for the November 18 election of Anambra State. They also called for attention on the deplorable condition of the southeast states. They asked for expressed concern about the deplorable condition of the state and called for attention to Akanu Ibiam International Airport requiring rehabilitation. You recall that the state of the federal roads across the country has been a matter of concern. For a long time, they have remained in deplorable condition, in spite of the fact that there is a federal road maintenance agency that has been operational for a long time. And because the rail had not been working for several years, you now have that haulage of heavy goods have had to go by road, and most federal roads across the country are in deplorable condition. You recall that the road failed at Bukani the other day, where the bridge collapsed, and in fact, the railroads were washed away. That's right.
That's right. Yeah, well, is there any report as to the state of the road? There was a road, a major arterial road in Niger State that collapsed during the peak of the rainy season. I think the Vice President had visited the scene.
Visited the site. That was the one at Bukani. Yes. The work is going on, but meanwhile, they've made at least a bypass, and at least traffic is able to move now, but they've been working considerably on it. But Kano Lagos train has not been re-established because of that failed portion of that bridge. The other day, at the meeting with I think the National Economic Summit, the issue of the deplorable condition of state came up, and states were encouraged, if they have the resources, to look in and see what they can do. In fact, sometimes the issue of roads are unnecessarily politicized. You have some putting a signboard to indicate that this is federal road, and meanwhile, their own citizens and everybody uses the road. There are states that have taken the initiative to repair the federal roads and later on sought to reform from the federal government. Anambra State is an example. Akwa Ibom is also an example. But
let's quickly move on. You know, the issue of roads, it's one that we can continue to talk, and it won't be enough to exhaust on this program. I have the New Telegraph with me, and again, you know, part of the lead story is still on the Maina saga. It has the lead story, how Maina spent 352 million naira on travel allowances. Comes with 2 riders. EFCC probes ex-IGs, pump secretaries, anti-graft officials, and nuns threatens mass action over pension fraud. Details of that story continues on page 2. And there are just above that story, beneath the nameplate, you find trending stories. Reverend sister arraigned for defrauding 21 students. Details of that on page 36. Now, Nigeria is ready for business. Emefiele tells investors on page 10. And Southeast governors, leaders decry deplorable infrastructure. We've just talked about that. Details of that on page 33. Now, corruption unites Nigeria's elite politicians. That's coming from Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo. It's on page 12. A bit below the picture story, you find the report on $43 million discovery grass cutting contract reports. ACF Afenifere Khan demand action from Buhari. Presidency, he'll err on the side of caution. And APC, no comment. Details of that on page 9. New vaccines raises hope of tackling typhoid. It's on page 10. It's trending at the bottom there. And I think this is about the...
all right, let's take a look at the Authority newspaper. Above the nameplate of the Authority newspaper, you have some 4 headlines. Ijaw communities sue army and AGF for 700 million naira over invasion. That's on page 4 in greater detail. Now, on the story there, 1966 coups and civil war. Gawan should tell the truth now. That's attributed to Alaigbo. and Igbo presidency in 2023 non-negotiable. And Nigerian firm launches solar-powered tricycles. That's on page 2. Now, the lead story says Shehu Sani's committee, a $25 million cash for loans scandal. Presidency, police, and DSS moving. Right.
Talking about scandals, the House of Representatives has appointed a 10-man ad hoc committee to look into what they describe as the disappearance, the appearance and restatement of Alhaji Abdul Rashid Maina. Also, another report says that £6 million have been found in a London account, and that report is indicating that there were 66 accounts open for which Alhaji Abdul Rashid Maina and the Office of the Secretary, Head of Service of the Federation were signatories to. Other assets are said to include a farm that has been located in Kefi and 2 houses at Kado Estate. Meanwhile, congratulations to Anthony Joshua. The the Nigerian-born British boxer beat a Cameroonian-born French boxer in a 10-round knockout.
He said he could have gone on to the 12th round.
Well, the boxer said he wanted to continue, but you recall that in the 9th round, they had to call in a doctor to the ringside to check about the cut he had under his eye. And when the referee noticed that his hands were down and he was virtually defenseless, had to call off the fight.
All right, Bayo, thank you very much. My opinion would have been, the gentleman was ready to continue. Perhaps he's able to see more blood in the ring. Bayo, thank you for being here today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow will be another day. Thank you.
All right, Claire.
All right, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break to begin our conversation.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in the social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to question our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Helen! Your kitchen gets 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
This also gets a 10. Should we see the toilet now?
Sure.
This gets just 1.
It is clean.
But not perfect 10.
Better than my detergent and bleach? Impossible.
Challenge? Try the new Apic 10X.
Compared to bleach and detergent, Apic sticker formulation removes yellow stains times better, giving you a sparkling clean toilet.
Wow.
Now you also take that
Apic 10X challenge.
Also available in 200 ml pack.
The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, the Made in Nigeria campaign. In the midst of unprecedented multiple challenges, our great country Nigeria, as Africa's largest economy, is surely marching on to a new era of all-round prosperity, especially through re-engineered and diversified economy, powerfully driven by the change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR.
We will patronize local entrepreneurs. We will promote the manufacturing powerhouses. Our objective is to make Nigeria a new manufacturing hub.
It is not time to complain. It is time to join the campaign. It is time for economic recovery, growth and diversification of our economy by Made in Nigeria.
Can I see your particulars, sir?
Officer, my particulars no dey here.
In that case, you'll have to come with me to the police station.
Officer, which levels? Where I for find you something make you take arrange your weekend.
What? Offense number 1, driving without particulars. Offense number 2, trying to bribe an officer of the law.
I won't harass Nigerians or take bribe. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Alright, you're welcome back. But if you just joined us, it's Good Morning Nigeria. We're reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. Now, to set the stage for our discussion this morning, let's take this background report by our correspondent Timothy Yusuf.
Amidst the inability of the third tier of government to meet up with salary payment obligation, coupled with dwindling socio-economic development at that level, granting it autonomy has been proffered as solution to the myriads of problems confronting effective and efficient administration at that level in Nigeria. In 1976, the then Olusegun Obasanjo administration carried out a reform of the local government system in Nigeria, with the outcome put in the 1979 constitution. Objectives of the reform included fostering local government autonomy, taking governance and development closer to the grassroots, creating more economic activities at the local levels, and giving that level of government access to federal allocation. Many believe that since then, local government administration has never achieved the objectives of enhancing development at the grassroots and becoming an autonomous tier of government, but instead, they became units through which Nigeria's oil wealth is shared. Till date, all efforts to give the local councils an autonomous status have not yielded positive results both during military and civilian regimes. To worsen the situation, the creation of the joint state-local government account and the power of state assemblies to regulate activities of the local governments further ensured that the objective of autonomy is conclusively defeated. A ray of hope is, however, in the offing, as the opportunity which was once rejected by the local governments themselves few years ago is again thrown to them by the National Assembly by way of constitutional amendment. The Senate now sought to alter the constitution to abrogate state independent electoral commissions, thereby giving INEC further powers to conduct local council polls. This was the 33rd item on the 4th constitutional alteration bill passed by the Senate recently, as they voted to guarantee democratically constituted local government councils through elections to be conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, a proposal targeted at stripping state governments of power to control polls at the grassroots. This development is, however, described by some Nigerians as a setback and antithesis of true federalism. They said the partiality of state independent electoral commissions are noticeable, but argued that it could be checked without making federal government intervene in local elections at a time they are clamoring for devolution of more powers to the state. As further steps to ensure autonomy for the local government in Nigeria, the Senate sought to alter Section 162 of the 1999 Constitution to abrogate state-local government joint accounts and empower each local government area to maintain its own special account into which all allocations due to the council shall be directly paid from the federation account. To this end, the Senate voted to review the Constitution to make democratic composition of local councils statutory. This would mean any local government without elected officials will not get federal funding. This is expected to help improve efficiency and delivery capacity of the local councils. Therefore, these proposed reforms are to be sent to all the 36 state houses of assembly for consideration before transmission to the president for assent. But the chance of scaling the hurdle at state level remains slim according to some analysts. This is because in the 7th Assembly, similar proposals already approved by the National Assembly failed when referred to the state legislatures. What difference will it make this time around? Will there be a repeat of the previous experience? Join us for answers to all of these questions on Good Morning Nigeria.
Indeed, Timothy, we do hope to get the answers that we've been looking for to this very issue today on this in this conversation. But we have joined us here in the studio to shed more light Senator Abdullahi Abubakar Gumel. He is a Senate Committee Chairman on States and Local Government. Thank you, distinguished Senator, for joining us.
Thank you.
We also have here with us in the studio Comrade Kambo Tanko Kagara. He's the National President, Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGAN. Good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, Claire. Then there are two other guests who are with us in this, for this discussion. One, of course, is right here with us in the studios in Abuja, and the other one will join us from our National Network Center outside. Now we have with us here Jide Ojo is a public affairs analyst, of course a familiar face on Good Morning Nigeria. Jide, a pleasure to have you join us today.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, and then from Benin we have Comrade Olumami Oyibo, who is chairman of the Local Government Service Commission in Delta State. Comrade Oyibo, our pleasure that you are with us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, Claire.
Gentlemen, we indeed are glad to have you with us for this conversation. Let me begin with the distinguished Senator Abdullahi Abubakar Gumel. This is a journey that probably started in 2012, sponsored by 2 honorable members and 1 senator. 7th Assembly passed it, but it didn't, get through the State Houses of Assembly. Now the 8th Assembly has transmitted it to the State Houses of Assembly. First of all, what prompted, this rejigging of this, bill?
Well, like like you said, the 6th and 7th Assembly, they tried it, and it didn't go through. But if you remember the inaugural speech of the President, Muhammad Buhari, he was so passionate that he will not oversee the affairs of state account being bastardized by the various state governments. So that gives us hope, because we have a president who has the political will to see this tier of government come back to life. In fact, I'm a member of the Constitutional Amendment Committee, and we are lucky the Deputy Senate President, who was in the 6th and 7th Assembly, and is still our chairman. And this time we invited the state speakers, majority leaders, and of course women parliamentarians in the various states that have them to come together, so that together we took a decision. All of us, both the National Assembly and the leadership of the state assemblies, and to drive this.
Sorry, you met with the leadership of the state assemblies as well?
Yes.
Okay.
In attendance.
Okay.
Yes. By the time the National Assembly took the decision, they are there as observers and in agreement of what we did. In fact, we give them more powers to see the affairs of the local government administration in the state. In fact, Section 7, which gives the state government the powers to establish local government, we make a further amendment to that section and give direct responsibilities to the state assemblies to see that the local government administration is established by the state assemblies. That new thing that comes, so we zeroed the specific assignment to the state assemblies. Before, it was so big that state governments have has to see the establishment of it. And
what is this specific power that has been granted to State Houses of Assembly now to oversight local governments, as you are saying with regard to the amendment?
Yes.
What is the specific power?
Let me either read the provision of the bill that give that powers to the, like I said, we alter the provision and give powers. Sorry, I have the bill here.
If you can't immediately locate the provision, maybe we'll come back to you shortly, distinguished Senator. We will come back to you in the course of the conversation.
It's 1C. The House of Assembly of every state shall ensure the existence of democratically elected local government council under a law which provide for the establishment, election, structure, composition, finances, and function of such councils.
And also granted them financial autonomy?
Yes.
All right, but I'm just wondering, well, the distinguished senator will come to discuss later on in the course of this conversation the utility of this particular amendment. But let's bring in now the chairman of ALGON, which is the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria. Clearly, I introduced him as Comrade Gambo Tanko Kagara. Comrade Kagara, because you listen to the distinguished senator on the issue of local government autonomy, it's one that has been in the air for a number of years in the country. Of course, there's a particular reason why there's been the clamor for local government autonomy. But from the perspective of ALGON, what does local government autonomy entail?
Thank you. Local government autonomy. We can per se, we said the local government should have a free hand of managing their resources and administrative procedures of the local government. Yes, I'll tell you that I came in a good footing because the Niger State government, after our election, he has given us our autonomy, partial autonomy. Now, in Nigeria, it will be, Niger State is the first governor that gave us our economy, our autonomy. In the sense now, in Niger State, we manage our resources, not the governor himself. When our allocation comes, we sit down and look at our priorities of the council. We implement. Now in Niger State, you see that we have progress, both development and otherwise. And now in Niger State, it is only Niger State you can go now without problem of salaries in local government. Why? Because he allowed us to manage our resources. Now that is the advantage of autonomy when it's given to any local government or the states.
All right. What is the experience of other members of your association? You're citing the example of what's playing out in Niger.
Yes.
But of course, we had what happened some time ago when the governor of Kaduna State scrapped the state local government joint account. That's part of the steps towards autonomy. But from elsewhere in the country, what are the experiences of your members with regard to autonomy and the conception of it?
Actually, during our electioneering campaign, our members asked me first the position of Niger State, which I explained to them that my state governor, after our election, he gave us a partial autonomy. Make it like that, partial autonomy. In the sense, that is why I'm even buoyant to say that I'm contesting for the presidency of ALGON. I gave them sample that if I emerge, that is my first priority. which by the grace of God, the Senate has done it for us. And we are congratulating them, thanking them for this initiative, which will bring development to the rural areas. Actually, I will give example to myself and my local government to add to Senate effort. This autonomy, it was given to us. If you come to my local government as of now, as a chairman, I'm boasting of at least 40 projects which I implemented.
Okay, let's put you on hold, comrade, and bring in Jide Ojo. Jide, you've been following the development as with regards to the quest for local government autonomy. Of course, you know how it all started. This time around, if you listen to the distinguished senator, do you think that we are threading on the same path, or is there something different? Is the quest for local government autonomy now matured?
Thank you very much, madam. I believe the local government autonomy is more desirable now than ever before. Because you cannot talk of diversification of the economy, you cannot talk of bringing development to the grassroots without ensuring that the people at the community level feel the impact of governance. Whether we will succeed depends a lot more on the buy-in of the governors, the chief executive of states. I said that because experience has shown that these people are gatekeepers, and they usually dictate to the State House of Assembly what they should do or should not do. And don't forget now, the State House of Assembly themselves have something on the table, which is their own financial autonomy. And they may eventually have to pick within autonomy for local government or autonomy for the State House of Assembly. In 2010, they rejected both. I mean the State House of Assembly. They rejected their own autonomy, financial autonomy, as well as that of local government. But now they are more desirable to have financial autonomy for State House of Assembly, and it will be just good if they can also push and ensure that they also voted for financial and administrative autonomy for local government.
You heard the distinguished senator say that within the process, during the process, of the amendment, they had in attendance and the support of the state houses of assembly. Might that make a difference?
It's not about whether the speaker has one vote. The majority leader of State House of Assembly has one vote. But I'm telling you what operates. In theory, yes, of course, they've even issued communique in support of local government autonomy, but everything last time around in the last constitutional amendment exercise, which eventually gets aborted because the president refused to append a signature on it. 2 states, they fell short by 2 states that they couldn't meet the 2/3 threshold. 24 states that they need to push it through. It's not like there will be progressive states, there will be conservative states. But what is needful now, I'm happy that the distinguished senator said the president in his inaugural speech actually gave the cue for local government autonomy. Now it is for the president to call the state governors and said, we need to have a shared vision on this issue. Not only on local government autonomy, but on every amendment that has been passed by the National Assembly. Because whether we like it or not, the state executive governors still hold a lot of powers. And they can do and undo. If they support this, it's a done deal. Forget about it.
Okay, let's put it on hold.
That's right. Jide, thank you very much. Again, we'll come back to you. Let's return to our Benin Network Center, where we earlier introduced Comrade Oyibo, who is chairman of the Local Government Service Commission in Delta State. I would like to pursue with you the whole concept of local government autonomy. It's been touched on by the other guests with regard to say, look, let's have freedom to manage our resources. Does local government autonomy begin and end with the management of resources?
Well, let me quickly thank you for this wonderful question. First of all, the issue of autonomy is something that has been on over a long period in this country. And today we are practicing what we call a presidential system of government, where we have the federal government, the state government. I want to believe that in this country today, the state governments, they have their own administrative and financial autonomy, and there is no question of unnecessary or undue interference from the federal government. And if we see we have a presidential system where the constitution is very clear on the type of local government that we should operate, which is supposed to be a democratically elected local government as provided in the constitution, then we expect that such government at the grassroots level to have its own autonomy, both financial and administrative. Autonomy of local government is such that the local government will have the authority to take decision on anything they want to do, whether financial, administrative, or in terms of development on their various local government area. And they should derive their power by way of election from the people at the grassroots. Not a situation where, because of how the government has decided to look at the local government, anybody that has to come to local government must have to come to the state. We have situation today in this country where some states have completely ignored the position of the constitution. Some states since 1999 have not even had a democratically elected local government. That in itself is an indication that nobody seems to appreciate that local government derive their power in terms of elected people from the constitution. So when they have this autonomy, the situation is that they will decide the type of project they want to execute, they will be interested in which you work with them, they will supervise their workers. Not a situation where, as we have today, local government are said to be in charge of payment of teacher salary, yet they have no control over who works in the teaching board. So we expect them to decide what they want, just as if the federal government is doing, the state is doing, they should have their own authority. They should in any way not be subjected to any control by the state government. Government is collaboration, there must be cooperation, just as today, the state governors, they go to Abuja, they discuss with the federal government on what to do. That should be the situation. It should not be a situation of a master and servant relationship. That's what I think should be the position.
Well, still with you, Comrade Oyibo, you've elaborated on what you think local government autonomy would entail. Now, lofty as all of this sounds, why do you think that we have not had full-fledged local government autonomy since the Constitution came into operation in 1999?
Well, it's a question of the function of those who are in authority. Today, by His grace, we have a president that has openly told us that he is interested in local government autonomy. We have come out recently to see a situation where, like the NUT, they are now against local government autonomy, not because they don't want the local government to be on their own. They are only trying to protect what I think is their own interest. And that brings us to the issue of financing of local government and distribution of the national fund from the federation account. The truth is that teachers today are not really against local government autonomy. They are only interested in protecting what belongs to them. That is the issue of their salary. And that is why we feel that when local government autonomy is granted, adequate provision should be made for teachers to have their own entitlement. With that, I expect that the teachers today, they are agitating to ensure that whatever situation is taken, whatever position is taken, there should be guarantee for the protection of their own salary. And the only way they can do that is for the revenue formula of this country to be looked into, so that local government can be sufficiently funded so that they can run their own affairs without any problem.
All right, we'll get back to you, of course, Comrade Oyibo. Let's return to Senator Gumel. Listen to Kingsley's question. Does financial autonomy, local government autonomy, begin and end with financial independence? Are there other aspects of the fourth alteration that speak to or confer local government, that autonomy, that they so deserve? And at what, where are we at the moment with it?
In fact, like most of the discussants have said, the provision of the Constitution, even if it's not amended, if people, the governors and the House of Assemblies, there are adequate provisions in the Constitution that guarantee the survival of local government administration. Local government administration cannot survive without control of their funds. So the existing 1999 Constitution as amended has adequate provision, but we further amend it so that the fears of all the fears of even the primary school teachers have been taken care of. On the new section 9, if I can read, which we have transmitted to the state assemblies for concurrence. The House of Assemblies of each state shall by law prescribe such portion of the money allocated to the state and its local government council from the federation account to be used for the purpose of paying of salaries of primary school teachers and such other purposes as it may determine. We give all these powers to the State House of Assemblies. And Section 10 further said, for the purpose of subsection 9, the Federation Account Allocation Committee shall deduct and remit the salaries of primary school teachers to a body as may be prescribed by the House of Assembly of each state. So this fears of the NUT has been taken care of.
How does Bill number 6 in the fourth alteration, how does it affect the autonomy of the states? I just would like for you to explain to us, those bills, that, form part of the amendment that have granted the local government the autonomy, or that will grant local governments the autonomy.
What we did in this constitutional amendment is different from what we had before. What we had before is one bill. Is if it fails everything, whether you like it or not. Okay. But this time, we make the constitutional amendment in several bills, okay, about 20 bills, that if one is rejected, one can survive, the other one can survive. So this is what we did. Instead of doing all the work and in one go it's rejected. At this time, the houses of assemblies have the liberty to reject some and pass some, so that the efforts and the funds expended in trying to amend this constitution will not go down the drain.
All right, the distinguished senator, I'm just wondering, Claire, let's return to Jide Ojo. Jide, let's, again, for the benefit of our viewers, let's try to understand exactly what the amendment process is seeking to cure. I mean, what mischief is there that we've not been able to overcome since 1999? And the preface to my question will be as follows. Look, we have a surfeit of provisions in the Constitution Section 7 is there, 162 is there. Then you have the 4th schedule to the Constitution spelling out the functions of local government, plus the fact that states have also, through their houses of assembly, passed various laws governing the local government's administration. All of this exercise now undertaken by the National Assembly with regard to what has been labeled as local government autonomy, will it add up to much if, from what we have seen since 1999, state governments, in particular state governors, have pocketed the local governments?
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. The issue is this. Again, I come to the, like the distinguished senator said, the laws, even if it's not amended, and there is political will to implement, we will have a better governance at local government level. But be that as it may, one thing I've also found to be very useful in this current amendment is the uniformity of tenure of local government. You recall that sometimes last year, I guess, the Nasarawa State House of Assembly was in fracas over issue of the number of years to give to local government in Nasarawa State. I mean, they took it to a ridiculous extent that a local government tenure should be 1 year. What will you do in 1 year? 12 calendar months. I mean, but this current amendment exercise is saying 3 years for all. So 36 states, everyone knows when local government election is due in every state.
So that prohibits the caretaker issue.
Exactly. Not only that, yes, it prohibits, it's first standardized across board. All states will have 3 years as tenure for local government. But what will cure the other lacuna you just mentioned, madam, is the fact that if you don't have democratically elected local government officials running the affairs of your local government, your subvention from federal government will be without, which was what former President Olusegun Obasanjo tried to do in 2001 in the case of Lagos State when it created local council development areas. And there was argument about whether it was consummated or not consummated. Before, and of course, the administration of General Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, withheld the funds of local government before the Supreme Court eventually said, you do not have right to withhold those funds because it's not constitutional, but agreed with the federal government that the creation of those LCDA, 37 LCDA, were inchoate, in which case they were not concluded because there was no consequential amendment at the level of National Assembly. But this time around, once we have that caveat that if you fail to have a democratically elected local councils, then you forfeit or you will not get your funding from federal government. It then compels the state government through the State Independent Electoral Commission to organize elections. Then we will now be talking of the quality of leadership at local government level. Because right now, the other challenge we will have, even if we have local government autonomy, is what will be the quality of leadership at that level.
Precisely.
Because at the end of the day, if you have riffraffs strolling or being anointed to go and govern at that level, you will not have any change. But when you have pragmatic, experienced, versatile, well-resourced, intelligent people vying, like the former deputy governor of Benue State, after serving as deputy governor, decided to go into contesting election at council level. You can just imagine what wealth of, I think that's Honorable Ogiri Ajene, decided to go and fight for election at local government council level after being a deputy governor. At the end of the day, you will see the quality that that kind of person will bring into governance. And whether we like it or not, you'll find out that over the years, local government have been a breeding ground for leadership. I recall that the former governor of Oyo State, Otumba Adebayo Alao Akala, used to be the chairman of Ogbomoso North local government. The same Senator Olarewaju Ganiyu Olarewaju Solomon used to be the governor, the chairman of Mushi local government. Even our distinguished Senator Itainang used to be the council chairman. The governor of Delta State used to be council chairman in one of the councils in Delta State. Now, what we are saying is that with this autonomy granted, you will have more experienced, versatile, intelligent, well-resourced people coming in to contest elections.
Jide, the point you just raised now, we would like Comrade Kagara to respond to this. There are two issues here. The first one has to do with the fact that there is a perception of the quality of persons in some of the local government areas, plus the fact that, okay, if you now have autonomy, you are likely to ratchet up the caliber of persons who will be seeking to vie for positions either as chairman or as councillors. What's your reaction?
Yes, quality of chairman. I say the analysis given, yes, it's okay. It is only on, from the grassroots. Most of the senators, governors, they came from the grassroots, which most of them contested for councillors, some of them chairmen. Now, with the autonomy now, it will give more, it will be more interesting to quality educated people to contest from the local government chairman. In fact, what he has said, that is what is going on now. Most of the chairmen, because of this bureaucracy of our governors, some of the governors, they don't allow quality people to come and contest. Because if you are given a caretaker committee chairman, you must be loyal to that governor. You have to be loyal to that governor. After giving you the caretaker committee, that is when he convert you now to become a chairman, not necessarily to check at your own level.
That's the governor converts you.
It's okay.
That's a conversion.
Most of. Okay. Because look at, if you are not within that caucus, you can't just come in and then contest. It's not possible. So whatever now we are doing in this autonomy issue, when autonomy is being granted, automatically, the federal government now has to. Only the federal government will conduct election. It will conduct election, not the state level now. So.
All right, Comrade Kagara, we will of course return to you. We'll also get back to the other guests here in the studio. I don't know, are we taking a break now, producer? All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll take our tweets.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
All right, if you've just joined us, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and we are looking at local government autonomy, and we've got some tweets. Let me quickly begin with Victor Ohiosumwa, and he tweets, happy to have Kingsley back, looking fresh. And I'm looking at you. And local government autonomy.
Watch out in a couple of weeks, it will be like this.
All right, he continues, local government autonomy is imperative for development. Hope the state assemblies will approve it.
Well, thank you very much, Victor. Let's take the other tweet now from Daily Jack Solomon. It says, giving autonomy to local governments will ensure regular and timely payment of civil servant salaries, entitlements, and benefits, and also stop suicides in the country.
And the National Assembly should know, this is coming from Jibril Naina, the National Assembly should know that they are not living at the local governments. The administrators may know better of their need. Local government autonomy is the solution.
Afolabi Abiodun tweets, now this action, that's the local government autonomy, will also support improved policy implementation and design of pilot programs for socio-economic development.
And Yunusa tweets, if we want development, the local government autonomy is the way to go, else we continue deceiving ourselves. God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Abdul Jalil has this tweet, now the local government remains the cash cow for states, and state governments would hardly allow the House to act responsibly, and that's just his view.
And again, Daily Jack Solomon tweets, my moderators, be that it is may, those against local government autonomy are those who hold on to local government's fiscal allocation and select chairmen at will, without allowing the electoral process to elect them, recourse to the Constitution.
And Afolabi Abiodun has this tweet. Local government autonomy will solve many problems in Nigeria, especially youth unemployment, women empowerment, communal security, health and sanitation development, together with infrastructure.
And Festus Akimboyewa tweets, the autonomy of local governments will ensure strong democracy in Nigeria, because there can never be strong democracy without popular participation at the local level.
Suleiman Sanusi says, in Nigeria's case, there is no single local government that was given autonomy. Even those that proclaimed it were obviously exploitative. We don't know the basis of saying that 774 none has autonomy.
Well, yes. Sam Rakbe tweets, state assemblies should vote for local government autonomy this time around in the interests of the public, so that governors will stop stealing local government funds. And those are the tweets that we have at the moment. Please do keep them coming. Our Twitter handle is right there on the screen, is at NTAGMN. Now let's continue with our conversation, and we move on now to our Bini Network Center, where we have Comrade Oyibo joining us. Comrade Oyibo, the question of leadership is a very critical one with regards to discussions on the local government autonomy. But let me take you on the issue of NUT. Now, the NUT has been very, very critical about the consequences of granting fiscal or financial autonomy, to the local government areas. And they give their reasons. One, that the local government can't employ, teachers, above grade level 6. Now, none of the teachers at the primary or secondary school level is under grade level 7, and that will speak to quality. Now, do you think that the provisions made by the National Assembly for NUT, for teachers, is sufficient to address their concerns?
Yes, thank you very much. I want to believe that the position of the National Assembly to address the teachers' agitation, I think is proper, and that's the best thing to do. Because I want to see that even if there's local government autonomy today, and the responsibility to address the teachers' salaries is still left with them, without corresponding financial wherewithal to meet with such a thing, then there will still be problem. So I think the National Assembly has actually done the right thing by addressing that issue. Because I said earlier on that much as we are talking about local government autonomy, which is something that everybody in this country is 100% in favor of today, there must be adequate provision in terms of the distribution of the financial resources of this country. There must be proper arrangement, because when you give somebody a responsibility without giving the adequate funding, then nothing can be achieved. And if teachers are to be taken care of properly, then the problem of local government, as far as issue of paying teachers, which is making them to agitate for what they are doing now, will have been solved. So I want to say that the National Assembly have acted properly, and it's in my position that the State House of Assembly should give this matter the seriousness and urgency it deserves. Because the earlier we have autonomy of local government, like most of the tweets that you have just read, you can see that a good number of people have already concluded, and it's a fact, that if this government is to be appreciated at all levels, then local government should be given the power to carry out their functions, to develop their local government area. Above all, when there is going to be a properly democratic local government, then the people will be in a position to throw up quality persons, even more persons who are highly placed in society, who have the interest of coming to contest election. It will not be a situation of where anybody, just like the other speaker said, where riffraffs will come and head local government. I think once the autonomy is granted, there's properly democratic local government put in place, finances are put there, more important people, responsible people, resource persons will be attracted to contest election in local government. And that will put an end to the agitation of teachers.
All right, thank you, comrade. I would like Jide to, also react to this. But first, Jide, let the distinguished senator, if you may, read out that part, for which you said you have addressed, the concerns of the teachers.
Okay, the concern of the teachers, in fact, it's on section 9 and 10 of the amendment that we passed in the National Assembly and seek for concurrence. The House of Assembly of each state, that's section 9, shall by law prescribe such portion of the money allocated to the state and its local government council from the federation account to be used for the purpose of payment of salaries of primary school teachers and such other purposes as it may determine.
Okay, thank you, distinguished.
That's section 9. Section 10 further said, for the purpose of subsection 9, the Federation Account Allocation Committee shall deduct and remit the salaries of primary school teachers to a body as may be prescribed by the House of Assembly of each state.
Of each state. Beautiful. Judy, do you think that will address the concerns raised by teachers, NUT? Because NUT have been very critical, and they say, look, there will be dire consequences, not just on the quality of teachers that we, will now begin to have, but also on, the quality of education that our children get.
Well, to an extent, it's going to douse that tension, but it will not cure everything. I think for me, everything should be clearly stated. For that discussion to be given to the State House of Assembly, we know how things work in this country. You have that amendment, and we have even at the level of federal government instances where you are supposed to set up a procurement council. The law has been passed, there is no council in place. Almost 5 years after the passage of that bill and assent to it. So what I'm saying invariably is that leaving it to the discussion of State House of Assembly, these same governors may eventually frustrate the the setting up of that special fund or whatever it is that is expected. Yeah, it is good because we are the one agitating for devolution of powers, and we should, initially, even before 2010, it used to be that the National Assembly makes law for the state, for the local government. But during the 2010 amendment, it was considered to the State House of Assembly. But I think we should start from there. Let's have this amendment. Then advocacy will now be scaled up to ensure that each state set up the relevant fund or whatever it is that is meant to collect from the federation account that funds. But the other angle, the flip side of that is, where does this leave other staff of local government? We have administrative staffs in all the local government. We have staff of local government working in primary health care centers. We have them working in the agric sector. We have them in several other. If we single out teachers,
and who also administers UBEC, because exactly. Right now UBEC is also under the state control of the state government.
What I'm saying invariably is that why don't you make it omnibus that the salaries of workers of local government, be they teachers or administrative staffs of local government or whatever, should be in the consolidated revenue fund of the federation and be directly paid to them? I think that would be more far-reaching.
Well, Jude, thanks a lot. There are a number of issues arising. Distinguished Senator, just hold on the piece. We'll come back to you. There are a number of issues pertaining to all of this. I'm sure the chairman of one of the local governments in Niger State is here with us. That's Comrade Kagara, who is also chair of Argon. There are problems with regard to recruitment in the first instance of those persons. So if you put that in the consolidated revenue of the federation, and then you have persons who are being recruited, you know, at will, then you have a major challenge. But there's a point that I would like also to pursue further. Jide touched on that earlier, and I'm going back to Benin Network Studios, where Comrade Oyibo is. Comrade Oyibo, I'm sure you're familiar with the level of politicking that goes on. What are the likely hazards that we should prepare for in granting autonomy, as it were, full-scale autonomy to local governments as proclaimed as a third tier? We have seen sometimes the altercation between states and the federal government. Are we likely to see that between local governments and their states? That's one leg of my question. The next leg will also be this. If some state governments, if some state governors, if not most of them, have become plutocrats, those who seek to control you know, the political fortunes of their state, would they readily cede this power to local governments? If they ceded this power, would local governments also not then constitute themselves into another set of plutocrats?
Well, the truth of the matter is that when we are discussing local government, we discuss local government as if those who are in local government are local people. The people you have at the national level today, at the state level, they are not different from those in local government. And I want to believe that anybody who is a chairman of a local government can also be the governor of a state, and he can also be the president of the federation. We heard just now that the governor of Delta State, was a local government chairman. We have a lot of people in the western region or the western southwest state who were local government functionaries, other councillors or chairmen, who later became state governors and even ministers. So the impression that those who are in local government, they are not people of quality, of substance, or they are not good resource person, that is not correct. So I want to say that if proper amendment is made, if the people are democratically elected properly, if the people are allowed to choose those that will speak for them and represent them, if this idea of taking people to a selection is stopped in this country, responsible, reasonable, highly educated persons, retired permanent secretaries, even ex-governors and commissioners will like to be chairman of local government. And when you have such people there, then you don't expect anything short of good administration and good governance at local government level. The issue is that we have to give this amendment a chance, let it come to be, and let us see whether there will be no improvement in local government system. At that time, people will be in a position to protect their source of revenue that is taken over by the state. People will be able to decide whether we should actually go and collect money and develop ourselves or not. But in a situation where there is selection, there are no processes, and anything goes, to the extent that even a clear provision in the constitution where people are supposed to be democratically elected is ignored by state governors and nobody is doing anything about it. I think the provision that anybody that wants to take local government for granted, the amendment should provide for sanction, like withholding of the allocation and all those things. And once those things are in place, then local government will be a different place in this country.
Comrade Oyibo, thank you very much. Claire is, responding to one of the comments you just made. But in terms of examples that have been cited with regard to persons who were previously local government chairmen who then became governors. Lucky Benedict was chairman of Oedo local government. That's in Edo State. But Jidojo, I would like you to respond to this. We've got the power play that goes on at the state level. We know, since 1999 it has been the case that governors control the party machinery in the various states. Governors are referred to as leaders of the party in the state, not the chairman of the party, unlike what we saw, for instance, during the Second Republic. And I'm saying that, look, if all of these amendments were to scale through, to say with regard to local government autonomy, fine. But at the end of the day, in actually getting to the brass tacks of politics, are we likely, therefore, to see persons, who will come out and then be truly democratically elected, be faithful to the electorate, and therefore be ready to implement whatever provisions there are still in the fourth schedule to the Constitution, plus whatever laws the State House of Assembly may pass in addition to the bylaws of the local councils?
Very well. I believe so. If we have this amendment, and I'm all for this amendment, we can't have any perfect law, but it's going to be a demand and supply thing. After we've crossed the bridge of passage of the law, a lot of conscientization, a lot of advocacy, a lot of education will still need to be carried out at the community level to now get citizens to be aware of how to demand their right. I like what BBC Trust is doing with Story, Voices from the Market. If you listen to that, it's about local governance. They are telling people how they can engage their local administrators in that short stories that is heard on radio networks almost every week, and that gives idea of how people can key into governance system of local government. Because if you leave it to chairmen and councillors, we won't see much dividends even if this law is passed. But the moment the people are made aware to say, look, it is within the purview of local government to give you good markets, to give you abattoir that is is neat and clean, to provide culverts, to provide Grade C road, because there are 3 different layers of road: Trunk A, Trunk B, and Trunk C. That Trunk C road, those rural roads are supposed to be graded, maintained by local government. Then people will start demanding. And because these councillors and chairmen live within the communities, they know their parents' house, they know their family houses, people will mobilize to go there and say...
I'm sorry, Jide, you are saying that they live within the communities. Most of the local government chairmen, they live in the state capitals.
But their family houses are in their communities.
Don't be too certain.
It cannot be all of them.
Yes.
But at least, even if you are living in city centers, and in fact, many governors, when they inaugurate these caretaker committees, I heard, for instance, the Rivers State governor, when he inaugurated his own caretaker committee, which is antithetical to the constitution anyway, saying that he must not hear of any of these caretaker committee chairmen living in Port Harcourt, that all of them are supposed to live within the communities.
You see, Jide, you've just touched on a very sensitive issue now. And that brings me to my question. Can the state houses of assembly, with this kind of, instruction that you have given, muster the 2/3 votes required to pass this vote overwhelmingly? Is that possible?
That is why I said in my opening statement that we need to have shared visions with the governors of the state. They are the ones that will see this power, whether we like it or not. Like I said, all well and good. Speakers of state house of assembly have issued communique. They have said that they are going to vote for it. But a day before the voting, if the governor called and say, "I'm not for it," you will see them vote-a-face, voting against.
If the governors were given some form of power, if that section of the amendment that speaks to the devolution of power, if they had that, will that probably create a way for this autonomy to have an easy sale?
They need to negotiate with the governor to say, look, and that's where I said the president needs to come in and host these state governors. Specifically, the only thing or the agenda of that meeting should be passage of the constitutional amendment. He needs to sit with them and say, look, my comrade, my lieutenants in the states, I need your support to get this through. Because whether we like it or not, irrespective of the fact that this devolution of power that many of us desire did not scale through at the national level, but invariably we are having devolution of powers if what has already been passed and sent to the states are eventually made law. Okay. And that is why the governors need to be solicited. They need to be encouraged to support their status of assembly to pass this legislation on local government autonomy, both administrative and financial.
Okay, Jide, thank you. Kingsley, I wanted to bring the discussion back to the distinguished senator. You want to?
No, well, that's a question, a provocative question, if you like, for Comrade Kagara. That's the point. I will come back to distinguished senator shortly.
Yes, okay.
There is a perception that right now, without the so-called full-fledged autonomy, the experience with a number of the councils that, of course, is probably speculative, but it's also the experience that whatever little control that local governments have at the moment over their finances, what happens is that whenever they get their allocation, they go to the local government headquarters, share the money, and then they disappear, which is why local governments cannot even maintain their secretariat. So what happens when all the monies now come into their kitty? So they become new fat cats?
What you are saying, well, to me, I'll say no. Mostly local government chairmen, you know, we have short funding. So if you said that local government chairmen will just go and share their money and go, it's not true. Because the last speaker spoke, said something. The local government that you are in, almost before even your fund comes, they are aware of what is available. Most of the local government, the fund that normally comes, it's just for salaries. So if it is for salaries, as a chairman, if I come, I'll disburse salary. After disbursement of salary, I'll stay. Now, the only thing after even the autonomy, we need this, the funding it will be our problem. Because the revenue allocation has to change. At least it should favor local government. That is when you will know that there will be development, and then none of the chairmen will say that after disbursement of his salary, he's going to somewhere.
Okay, let's also take it further. Kingsley, you actually asked the question I was going to ask. You know, the local governments, in addition to whatever financial funds they receive,
yes, they
also have their internally generated revenue.
Yes.
Now, listen to what somebody wrote of local government. It's a piece, gentlemen, made public. It refers to the conduct and character of those who manage the local government administration. And he said one trait of character that is ever present, though, is their well-honed capacity to dictate the minutest opportunity for fraud and diversion of public funds. Their word is law. They know everything except the concept of public and local government administration. So how might this new local government, this autonomy, this power, change this perception? Because if you go to the local government areas, you see bad roads, you see, all sorts of, deplorable, services and amenities and all that.
I'm still on my own, because the revenue allocation committee has to change.
Is it the revenue or the mindset or the character of the leaders?
If you don't have funding, how will you do? All we need is that after the autonomy, the revenue allocation committee should have to adjust so that more of the revenue will go to local government. Now, after that, all the development you are expecting, you see it. I gave you an example of Niger State. Now, I'm boasting of 42 projects in 1 year. 42 projects. A chairman of my caliber can give a contract of 80 million. At least, if other local governments or other states will emulate, and then manage their revenue, and then allocate the small allocation given to them, everything will be okay.
It goes
all right. Well, thanks, comrade. Let's distinguish on it. Of course, we've paused you for a long while. Let's get your thoughts on this. Are you hopeful that once these amendments get to be passed by, let's say, 2/3 of the State House of Assembly, it will be a new dawn for local government administration in this country?
Yes. Let me take you aback, because it's some of my colleagues here, they have said something. In fact, the local government administration vis-a-vis the state administration, as it is now, before the amendments, there are exceptions. It's not all the governors that pocket the allocation of the local governments. I'll give you two examples. One is Enugu State, and the other Jigawa State. I have seen with my eyes that in Enugu State there are local governments that council that are busy doing rural road, grade C roads and culvert and the rest. And in Jigawa, I will give you a specific example of one local government of Ringim. I have seen the chairman of Ringim local government, inspecting a rural road that he is constructing. So I'm sure there are several of this kind of state governments that are allowing local governments, like what the Algon chairman is saying, that like Niger State. So maybe if you go to other states and take a visit, you will see that some level of activities are going on. So we are hopeful that with this amendment is going to go through. And before the amendment, people are saying like some tweets that the local government go there only to share and go. They are not giving anything. You cannot stay. The chairman is not around because there is no fund. People will come to demand from him. The funds are not there. There is no work to do. So
he runs away.
Even the chief.
Yeah, but they have all kinds of agents who are, heading markets, collecting various rates.
Let me come there. Even the chiefs and the district heads, they run and come back only on weekends. So the administration, if you go to any local government headquarters where you can, what we can get, maybe imam or a foster there, and the school teacher, headmaster. That's the symbol of the authority now, because they are not allowed to work properly because they are not funded. If they are funded, they attract people, even the bureaucracy. They will attract quality people to come and work. You cannot be a professional, an engineer, to go and start working in a local government. That will be intellectual suicide. Because there is nothing for you to do.
And the presumption is that once we have full-fledged local government autonomy, incorporating financial autonomy, then the local governments might be in a position to escalate employment of qualified personnel and their activities. Thank you very much, distinguished Senator. Let's take some more reactions now from our viewers by way of tweets. We have this from Omogbola Babs. It says people tend to hold local government more accountable because they live amongst them. Now, giving local governments freedom, he writes, as entrenched in true federalism is key, just as local government's autonomy is an integral part of federalism.
And Chris Simeon tweets, yes, local government deserves more autonomy. It happens in USA, Japan, and so on.
And James Palm has this tweet: too late, a futile exercise, because restructuring will reduce local governments to mere administrative units and no more governments. True federalism has just 2 tiers of government.
And Festus Akiboyewa tweets, local governments in Nigeria should be given the freedom to shape the development of their communities and unlock the full potential of local innovation.
Sam Orakwe tweets, state assemblies should vote for local government autonomy this time around in the interest of the public, and those at the local level must feel the impact of government and even development.
And Sani Michael Omakoji tweets, most state houses of assemblies have become stooges in the hands of some state governors, and they are ready to sabotage the process.
Ismail Latif tweets, now the system of governance can only thrive when local governments in Nigeria are autonomous, because that sets them free from the governors.
And Miri Selkap tweets, state governors criminally regard local government councils as cash cows. Only federal government can enforce autonomy for local councils through fiscal policies.
Bashir Rabat tweets, my problem is that the state governors' influence on the state House of Assembly members. I pray that the amendment works.
And Olusegun Dosumo tweets, this is a great move, but will the state governors see that it works out? The governors have been too politically powerful.
And Lamidi Sahid tweets, we need federalism by practice. This agenda is an attempt to make us a unitary state.
And Adisa Adedigba tweets, the autonomy is going to define true federalism and real democratic systems. I pray the puppet state house assemblies approve it. We thank you again for bringing in the tweets. Okay, concluding part, Jide Ojo, what do you say? Do you think we will have a good transition if we do have the autonomy passed by the state houses of assembly?
Yeah, definitely. We should not be enslaved by our fears about whether things... I believe things will work better if we have this local government autonomy, and I'm all for it. But it has to be comprehensive. And when I say comprehensive, it should not just be limited to local government as it were. The State Independent Electoral Commission, I'm one of those who believe that we should not nationalize elections in this country. I've been to US to observe elections. I know that the counties, elections are even organized by states. So why will we say INEC should organize elections into local government? The moment you have administrative and financial autonomy for state independent electoral commissions, you will see a difference in terms of quality of elections into the local government. So what I'm saying in essence is that if we can carry everything through, we will see a remarked difference in terms of positive difference in administration of local government going forward.
All right, Jide Ojo, public affairs analyst, thank you. We do share in your optimism. Of course, as always, we're glad to have you with us for this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
We also like to appreciate Comrade Gambo Tanko Kagara, who is National President, Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, Algon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Comrade Olumami Oyibo, Chairman, Local Government Service Commission, Delta State. Thank you very much for joining us for the conversation.
Very much.
And distinguished Senator Abdullahi Abubakar Gumel, Senate Committee Chairman on States and Local Governments. Thank you, distinguished Senator.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, and that does it for our discussion segments on Good Morning Nigeria. Now on to sports. Nigeria Super Eagles set date for Morocco's campaign ahead of their FIFA 2018 World Cup qualifier against Algeria. And in tennis, Roger Federer wins his 8th Basel title at the Swiss indoors, just as Caroline Wozniacki beats Venus Williams to win the WTA finals in Singapore. Let's join our sports desk now for details of the stories.